You think time is simple. Seconds pass, minutes stack, and your life moves forward in a straight line, from past to present to future. It feels obvious. It feels real. But what if I told you that this entire experience, this constant feeling of time flowing, is not actually how the universe works? What if time, the thing you trust the most, is just a trick your brain is playing on you? Even Richard Feynman, one of the greatest physicists in history, hinted at an idea so uncomfortable, so counterintuitive, that once you understand it, you can never go back to seeing reality the same way again. Right now, as you're watching this, you feel time moving. You feel this exact moment becoming the past. But here's the problem. When physicists write down the deepest laws of nature, time doesn't behave like that at all. In fact, most of the fundamental equations of physics don't care about time moving forward or backward. They work perfectly fine in both directions. That means if you recorded the entire universe and played it backward, the laws of physics wouldn't break. Nothing in the equations would scream, "This is wrong." Think about that. A shattered glass reassembling itself, smoke pulling back into a cigarette, a drop of ink jumping out of water and forming a perfect sphere again. It looks absurd to you, but the laws of physics don't forbid it. So then, why don't we ever see that happen? Why does time feel like it has a direction? Feynman approached this kind of question in a brutally honest way. He didn't try to make things sound comforting, he tried to make them true. And the truth is, the direction of time doesn't come from the laws of physics themselves, it comes from something else entirely: entropy. Entropy is often described as disorder, but a better way to think about it is the number of possible ways a system can be arranged. Ordered states are rare, disordered states are overwhelmingly more likely. If you drop a glass on the floor, there are millions of ways it can shatter, but only one way it can be perfectly intact. So naturally, things move from order to disorder, not because they have to, but because it's statistically inevitable. And that one-way increase in entropy is what creates your sense of time. In other words, time doesn't flow because of some universal clock ticking in the background. Time flows because the universe is moving from less probable states to more probable ones. That's it. That's the arrow of time. It's not fundamental, it's emergent, it's a byproduct. Now pause for a second and really think about what that means. It means the difference between past and future is not built into the laws of reality. It's built into the statistics of how matter behaves. The past feels fixed because it had lower entropy. The future feels open because it has higher entropy. But at the deepest level, the universe doesn't label events as past or future. That distinction exists only in your perception. And this is where things start to get truly disturbing. Because if the laws of physics don't distinguish between past and future, then maybe all moments in time exist equally. This idea is sometimes called the block universe. Imagine reality not as something that's happening, but as something that already exists in its entirety, like a film reel. Every frame, past, present, future, is already there. You're not moving through time. Your consciousness is just experiencing different frames, one after another, giving you the illusion of motion. Feynman never liked overcomplicating things, but he was very clear about one principle. Don't trust your intuition when it comes to how the universe works. Your brain evolved to survive, not to understand reality at a fundamental level. So when physics tells you that time might not flow at all, you have to take that seriously, no matter how strange it sounds. Now here's a question that might make you uncomfortable. If the future already exists, do you actually have free will? It feels like you do. It feels like you're making choices right now. But if every moment is already laid out in the fabric of space-time, then your choices might just be part of that structure. You're not creating the future, you're uncovering it, living it, experiencing a path that already exists. And yet, you can't see it ahead of time. Why? Because of entropy again.
Your brain, like everything else, follows the arrow of increasing disorder. Memories are records of low entropy states, organized information about what has already happened. But the future hasn't happened yet from your perspective, so there are no records, no memories. That's why you remember the past, but not the future. Not because the future doesn't exist, but because your brain isn't wired to access it. Let that sink in. You are trapped in a one-way experience of a reality that might be completely static. Now, Feynman had a unique way of grounding even the strangest ideas. He would remind you that just because something is difficult to imagine doesn't mean it's not true. The universe doesn't care about your comfort. It doesn't care about your intuition. It only follows its own rules, and those rules suggest that time is not what it appears to be. Even modern physics, including relativity, supports this unsettling picture. In Einstein's universe, time is just another dimension, like space. There is no universal now. What you consider the present might be the past or future for someone else, moving at a different speed. That means the idea of a single flowing moment shared by the entire universe is an illusion. So where does that leave you? It leaves you in a reality where time might not exist in the way you think it does, where the past is not gone, the future is not unreal, and the present is not special. It's just the point your consciousness happens to be experiencing. And the most uncomfortable part, you are trapped in a one-way experience of a reality that might be completely static. So the next time you feel time passing, the next time you watch a second tick away on a clock, ask yourself this: is time really moving forward, or are you just moving through something that was always there? That's the kind of question Richard Feynman wanted you to ask, not because it's easy, but because it forces you to confront a deeper truth. The universe is not just stranger than you imagine, it is stranger than you can imagine. And once you truly understand that, time will never feel the same again.